Hands in the air, and don't move!
You ever sit in your living room on a calm night thinking nothing crazy could possibly happen, only for life to swing through your front door like it's auditioning for an action movie? Well, that was Rowan Hale's night. And trust me, the madness that followed didn't start with a scream, a shadow, or a warning. It started with a sound so sharp it felt like the walls held their breath. But before we get to that chaos, here's a little mini story to set the mood. 3 houses down, old Mrs. Langford was sipping her peppermint tea, complaining to her cat about how the new generation had no respect for proper shrub trimming. She glanced outside, saw 2 strange men creeping between yards with clipboards and fake smiles, and muttered, "Lord, somebody's about to regret opening their door tonight." She wasn't wrong. She just had no idea Rowan Hale was about to be the one tested. Back to Rowan. He was halfway through a quiet evening in Alder Ridge County, flipping a page in his book, when something slammed his front door so hard the hinges cried. This wasn't the friendly knock of someone begging for sugar, or the lazy tap of a delivery guy. This was a command. Heavy, entitled, like whoever stood outside believed they owned the whole zip code. Rowan's body reacted before his mind caught up. Years of Special Forces training living deep in his bones. He stood slowly, inhaled once, calm and steady, and moved toward the peephole. 2 men he had never seen in his life stood on his porch wearing matching black polos with Community Oversight Division stitched across the chest in suspicious-looking gold thread. Fake badges hung from their pockets like props stolen from a bargain bin movie set. Their stances, pure wannabe cop energy, like men who failed the academy but kept the attitude. The taller one, Dante Crowder, slammed the door again. "Open up. This is the COD. You're violating multiple property ordinances. We need to discuss penalties." Penalties? Rowan almost laughed. But before he could even answer, the entire door exploded inward. Before we go any further, comment where in the world you are watching from, and make sure to subscribe to Silent Divide Tales, because tomorrow's story is one you don't want to miss. Door didn't just break, it detonated. Wood split like brittle bone, like metal bolts flew across the floor, and Rowan Hale found himself staring at 2 men who clearly thought they were starring in their own bootleg SWAT episode. Dante Crowder charged in low, fast, shoulders tight like he practiced this in his bathroom mirror. Behind him came Sawyer Redden, taller, jumpy, his hand hovering near a cheap polymer pistol tucked under his shirt. They moved in a clean 2-man entry formation. Almost impressive if they weren't criminals with discount badges. And the wildest part, they expected Rowan to fold, like some random guy in a quiet house would panic at their fake authority. Can you believe they really thought intimidation was enough? But then Rowan raised both arms. Dual chrome pistols, Desert Eagles, steady, aligned, silently waiting. Crowder froze step. Redden's hand twitched toward his gun like slow movement would magically make it invisible. Rowan's voice dropped, sharp enough to slice the air. "Don't." That single word hit harder than the battering ram. Redden hesitated, then moved an inch more. The shot cracked like thunder. The muzzle flash lit the hallway, and Redden collapsed sideways, screaming, clutching his calf as blood spilled across the floorboards. Crowder's face drained to chalk as he stumbled backward, hands up, fingers shaking. Rowan didn't shout, didn't threaten. He simply shifted both pistols a degree. Calm, controlled, deadly precise. Your next move decides how you leave this house. Crowder tried to speak, but panic strangled the words. Redden's screams filled the room, bouncing off the walls with a desperate, ugly echo. The reality was settling in. They had picked the wrong house, the wrong night, and definitely the wrong man. Outside, faint sirens whispered through the trees. Can you imagine realizing backup is coming, but not for you? That's when things got worse. The sirens grew louder, fast. Blue and red flickered through the shattered doorway as Rowan stood unmoving, guns lowered now, posture strong and unshaken. He placed both pistols on the table beside him just as the officers swept into the room, and instantly everything flipped. The officers stormed in like a wave, boots crunching over splintered wood, flashlights slicing through the chaos. Their eyes bounced from the bleeding intruder to the mangled door, to Rowan Hale standing calm like he'd just finished rearranging furniture. Officer Navarro didn't even need a full second. He jabbed his Glock toward Dante Crowder. "Drop the badge." Hands where I can see them. Crowder's whole act collapsed. The swagger, gone. The fake authority, melted. Now he looked like a man trying to convince himself he hadn't just made several life-ending decisions. He lifted his hands, voice cracking. Officer, this is a misunderstanding. We're with the Community Oversight Division. Routine inspection. He opened fire on us. Routine. Inspection. Rowan's eyebrow didn't even bother to lift. He just pointed toward the battering ram lying beside the demolished doorframe. Officer Navarro blinked once. Hard. You could practically hear his patience evaporate. Can you imagine trying to lie your way out of a situation while standing next to the weapon you used to commit the crime? But then, things unraveled even faster. Navarro stepped forward, jaw tight. Turn around, hands behind your back. When Crowder hesitated, Officer Brooks leveled a second Glock at him, and hesitation died a quick death. Cuffs snapped around his wrists with a metallic bite. Meanwhile, paramedics rushed to Sawyer Redding, who was screaming threats, apologies, and random nonsense all at once. They lifted him onto a stretcher, his hands still shaking as he tried and failed to put pressure on the bleeding wound. As they passed Rowan, Redding glared weakly. You're dead, man. You don't know who we work for. Rowan didn't blink. That line might work on scared people, he murmured. But tonight, wrong address. Crowder was dragged toward the porch, fighting against the officers like a man still clinging to delusion. This isn't over, he spat. You'll see. We run this neighborhood. But the moment they stepped into the flashing lights, the illusion of power faded completely. They weren't enforcers anymore. They were criminals with props. And the real twist? One of the officers turned back toward Rowan with a look that said there was more to uncover here. Officer Navarro stepped closer to Rowan Hale, not with suspicion, but with respect. You handled yourself well, he said quietly, glancing at the shattered frame. These two have been on our radar for months. Extortion, impersonation, forced entry. You just gave us the evidence we needed. Rowan didn't gloat, didn't smirk. He simply nodded once. Glad the right people showed up. Outside, the chaos softened into order. Paramedics loaded Sawyer Reddin into the ambulance while he muttered threats that nobody cared about anymore. Dante Crowder sat cuffed in the back of a squad car, staring out the window like he finally realized the world wasn't going to bend for him. His fake badge lay on the ground, trampled and useless, the perfect symbol for a plan that died the moment Rowan raised his voice and said, "Don't." You ever notice how the loudest bullies become the quietest people once real accountability shows up? But then something surprising happened. A neighbor, Mrs. Langford, peppermint tea prophet herself, shuffled up the driveway, her robe flapping in the night breeze. I knew those two fools were up to no good, she muttered, clutching her cat like a witness. Told Whiskers we'd see drama before sunrise. Rowan couldn't help it, he laughed, a soft, relieved breath finally escaping his chest. After everything, humor found a way in. Officer Navarro stepped forward again. We'll handle the statements. Your home will be secured tonight. And Rowan? He paused. You did everything right. It wasn't praise, it wasn't flattery, it was recognition, the kind that seals an ending with dignity, not noise. As the last cruiser pulled away and the lights faded into the trees, Rowan stood in the doorway of his damaged home, the night air brushing past him like a quiet promise. He wasn't shaken. He wasn't broken. He was simply a man who defended his peace and won. Justice didn't come loudly. It came correctly. And in Alder County, word spread fast. Nobody was going to try Rowan Hale again. If you believe in real justice and real stories, hit that subscribe button for more from Silent Divide Tales. Every night, we bring you a world where truth stands tall, no matter who kicks the door.